Give us that saxophone. That sexy saxophone. No? There is a sexy saxophone, trust me. But my question for you guys. There's the saxophone. Listen to that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now it should be better. As I was saying, before we start get this game going, I also need to fix that, and that. All right. There's gonna be an opening text scroll, which is not read out loud. I would have to read it out loud myself, but the problem is, it goes way too fast for me to keep up with it. And it's not fun for you guys to just try to read it all, because there's a lot of text there to read. So, I was thinking, what if I read the scrolling text now, before I start the game? You can delay the subtitle? How? You mean the opening scroll text, I can actually delay it? Delay subtitle fade. I don't know what this means. No, because it's a scrolling opening text like in, let's say, Star Wars, Blade Runner, you know, that kind of an opening text scroll. It's not subtitles. It's a totally different thing, so it cannot be delayed. The subtitles is only for the characters' speech. But we have voice acting in it, so subtitles are only in there for convenience. This is an opening scroll text. So that's why I'm asking, do you guys want me to read the opening text scroll now? Because it will be impossible for me to keep up with it. I've actually tried. When I tested this game, when the text started scrolling, I started reading it out loud, and it was impossible for me to keep up with it. It's the whole potato internet, Eldritch. I just want to see, especially, I want to see Eldritch's reaction to this, because this is a very fascinating opening scroll text. I just want to see if he recognizes some of these names and, you know, stuff in it. Like if we're gonna get reactions from him. It would be nice if Zelda would be here too, because Zelda is also a big fan of the Discworld books. And he has been saying that he's reading them for the 5th time, so he would know. So should we wait for at least 5 minutes? Just 5 minutes if Zelda arrives here? Or... Did totally not start rereading them either. Nope, nah. Give them 6 minutes. Alright, let's give them 6. So while we are waiting, you go get some snacks, get some drinks, we can talk about whatever. Listen to this groovy music. Drink some extremely warm and flat Pepsi Max. Oh, oh God. I know exactly what the... Gabriel, could you play the awful sound effect? Because that's very appropriate for this Pepsi Max.
Oh my goodness, this is awful!
That's exactly what this Pepsi Max right now is. Oh. You ever had a really flat, like totally non-carbonated and super warm soda of any kind? Let's say a cola of any kind. Ever had that happen? Like you've left a glass of cola drink on your table for hours? Ugh, I think this is gonna make me sick. Down the drain it goes! At least almost left one. That feels better. Rid of it. Instead, I'm gonna drink some cool juice. Some Skogsbär Fun Light. Oh, so much better. Why is it so hot today? I even had to close the freaking blinds so the sun wouldn't blare inside because it was getting too hot in here. I currently have near boiling water. Oops. No, wait. Noin kuumaa teille päin, no näköjään. Jos Insafeinillä siellä jo ehtii jo vesi kiehua siellä. No, niin, kuumassa vedessä uimassa, joo. I was just swimming and water doesn't really stay cold in this weather in a bottle. Ah, sulle jäi pullo aurinkoon vai? Yep, näinpä juuri. So apparently Insane forgot had left his bottle in the sunlight. And that'll boil the water. I got Doritos thanks to some Americans talking about them on the stream. I don't like Doritos. I've tasted them once and I was like, yuck. Not my kind of chips. It's just what they're made out of, not my kind of thing. I'm not a big fan of tacos and such anyway. You know, those kind of chips. So no thanks. I don't like them either, but I had to. No, you don't. You don't have to. You have a choice. Either yes or no. You decided to go yes. But no is a good option too, especially when you don't like them. And since you were getting some Doritos, you didn't hear me what kind of fun light I have today. Because I said it in Swedish. The hot ones are pretty good because you can eat the whole bag in one go. Don't be such a conformist. Well, one more minute on the Zelda. Today's fun light is, oh, I already forgot, it's somewhat green. Is it the apple cactus? Apple cactus juice? Watermelon thing. I don't think I've ever seen a watermelon thing with fun light. I guess we in Finland don't get it. I've got the Skogsbär fun light. You heard me, Skogsbär. That's my Swedish. I'm horrible at Swedish. It's my favorite, actually. It is such a... just always liked it. I could never get bored of this one. If there's one thing that I can go for, it's always this one. At least the good thing is that my local Lidl always sells this one. So I gotta get it because they only got 2 flavors. It's either Skogsbär or or strawberry. And I hate the strawberry one. It's way too sweet. Way too sweet tasting for a sugarless drink. Now I gotta get up and look. Go ahead. We'll wait for a couple of more minutes. Because the people haven't returned yet. Skogsbär. Metsämarja, Mannequin. Metsämarja. Se on se meidän Funlightin sekoitus. Siinä on niinku vadelmamustikka tai jotain muuta. En muista tarkalleen. Skogsbär. I've seen Vanilla Coke and Cherry Pepsi on Amazon recently. Cherry Pepsi Max is great. Kyllä siinä lukema vaan sanoin sen vaan ruottiksi tolle Eldritchille. Kun se on ruottalainen. Kyllä mä voin sanoa Mettämarja. Ei se tajus mitä mä sanon. Vanilla Coke and Cherry Pepsi are 2 of my favorite sodas. Raspberry Pepsi Max. Now that's a good one. Lime Pepsi Max, that's a good one. And the Mango Pepsi Max is also good, but it's really hard to find. There's also Vanilla Pepsi Max. Verkkokauppa.com in Finni. Sieltä löytyy Vanilja Pepsi Maxia. Så har är svensk. Ja. Eldritch B Swedish chef. Should be reading that Archer Horby Hirski Burhin Dimburn. Otherwise Eldritch won't understand the thing. A diet caffeine-free Pepsi is just brown water. Yeah, I've actually tried the caffeine-free Pepsi Max. It loses some of the taste of it when you remove the caffeine. It's strawberry watermelon, so it's red, but I poured it in a solid black container while I made another batch of the green one, cloudy apple. Caffeine free, what's the point? I don't know. Maybe some people don't want caffeine in their soda. I mean, Pepsi Max has caffeine in it. Well, since Zelda has not arrived, I would like to start the game. So how about I read out the scrolling text now? Unless Gabriel is still coming back. Oh, Gabriel's still right there. Switched to my hotspot and everything seemed to work until my 4G randomly lost all signals just to shit on me. Oh, Gabriel. Everybody hug Gabriel. Everybody give a hug to the lovable muffin. He needs it. Also, the very interesting thing about the caffeine-free Pepsi Max is that it also loses some of its dark color. I mean, normal Pepsi Max is like black, right? But the caffeine-free is brown and clear. Which is weird. Gabriel hugs himself. It is a caffeine-free Pepsi Max. It tastes like Pepsi Max, but it has lost a little bit of its flavor because of the caffeine loss. It is not bad, but it's weird. In a odd way. I can't describe it. You'll have to taste it yourself. Just if you find the caffeine-free, a small bottle or a can, just go for it. Just check it out. But I'm sure you won't like it. I bought some of it and I was like, it'll go, but it's not the same. Yeah, that's what it even looks like. It's just brown water. That's what it looks like. I mean, it's got the Pepsi taste to it, of course, but it has lost the allure of the Pepsi as well. It's that weird. But really, you have a Pepsi Max, it's black. You have a caffeine-free, it's brown. It's like, why is this brown clear? Why? It looks weird. Why is it... When you remove caffeine from it, why does this happen to it? Low sugar, low carbs, low calories, low caffeine, low taste. Pepsi scam, maximum sugar, no taste. That's a joke that I made with my friends a long time ago. Low wang? Maybe, because it won't be getting up because of no caffeine or calories or carbs or sugar. It'll definitely be, you know, hanging up in every... Anyway, scrolling text! Everybody ready now? Everybody ready now to hear the scrolling text opening for this game while the groovy music is still playing? Alright. I'm gonna have my best reading voice for this. Everyone on the disc knows the legend of Eleanor of Zort. Or at least everyone knows a legend of Eleanor of Zort. Or Crinax. Or Elharib. Ask most people and they'll tell you that she was the cause of the Zordian Wars. Of course, ask most people and they'll tell you the patrician is a kind and benevolent man. Never trust what most people tell you. The real cause of the Zordian Wars was a little-known goddess called Errata. It was at the wedding of Peloria and Theta, or Orfrey and Euripus. It depends who you talk to, really. Suffice to say that being the goddess of misunderstanding, she wasn't especially popular and didn't take much to prevent her from being invited to weddings, which didn't please Errata at all, and so she devised a cunning plan to take vengeance. She got Neoldian, blacksmith of the gods, to make a golden falchion and told him to engrave on the blade of the sword "For the strongest." The resulting fight between almost 80 war gods would have ruined the wedding had Neoldian not inadvertently engraved Legunculae Leidene non accedunt, which roughly translates to batteries not included. Fortunately for Errata, an argument broke out between Patina, goddess of wisdom, who claimed the sword was subtly absurd metaphor for the hopelessness of existence, and Sephet, god of cutlery, who claimed it was a big knife. The argument went on for so long that a passing dog managed to borrow the falchion and go on a short quest, returning as the god of canines and unlikely subplots in legends before anyone noticed. In the end, it became so heated that Astoria, goddess of love, bribed Rome of Zort, or Ephebe, or no fixed abode, to steal the falchion and hide it just to shut her sister up. In return, Astoria gave Eleanor to Rome, even though she wasn't hers to give, which was typical of the gods, and the resulting extramarital confusion blew up into the Zortian Wars. In the carnage that followed, the Zortese falchion was lost. Perhaps forever. That was it. And there's the text again. Now you can read it. But see, it goes a little bit too fast for... Hey, free beer! Yeah, it depends on who you talk to, really. Great story, though. Any names, Eldritch, that you recognize of the gods? Legunculae Leidene non accentunt, which roughly translates as batteries not included. I do like it. Who claimed the sword was subtly absurd metaphor for the hopelessness of existence, and who claimed it was a big knife? Yeah. And there, the Sorties falchion was lost. Perhaps forever. I'm sure the Sorties falchion is not referencing to anything. I'll just give it out from the get-go. This game references a lot of Casablanca and Maltese Falcon. It's done in the same spirit as all those old film noir movies, especially with Humphrey Bogart. So be expecting to see lots of... Certainly not Maltese Falcon. No. I do have to say that the game begins in a very fascinating way. It's a blood moon tonight.
I've had some bad days since I started work as a private investigator. But I'd never woken up dead before. It all started the week before, on a cold and wet Sectober day in Ankh-Morpork, the oldest and most depraved of all the cities on the Discworld. But hey, you've gotta love it.
That was a flashback.
I'd been working as a PI for a little over a month, and business was slow. Hiring an investigator to look into your business requires trust. The amount of trust in Ankh-Morpork wouldn't fill a cup. And it's a small cup I'm talking about. Sure, people trust that you don't get on the wrong side of the patrician. People trust that you don't walk into the shades alone. People trust that the Assassin's Guild will fulfill their contracts or double your money back. Yeah, people even trust death. Just don't ask them to trust their mothers.
Act 1 of Discworld Noir.
Mr. Lewton?
If I'm not, I should fire the guy who painted the door.
So this is what a private investigator looks like. I expected someone more heroic.
Heroism costs extra. What can I do for you,
Lewton's
miss?
got a strong jaw.
Mrs.
How more heroic
And the
can
name
he
is
be?
Carlotta.
Okay, Mrs. Actually. Carlotta it is. What's a girl like you doing out in a night like this?
I want to hire you, Mr. Lewton.
Please, call me Lewton. Mr. sounds so formal.
How much do you charge for a simple investigation?
I don't know. I've never had a simple investigation. A tricky one is 20 a day.
I'll give you 200 in advance, plus expenses.
For 200, I guess I should treat you with some respect.
Oh, I wouldn't ask a guy like you to attempt the impossible.
What's the case?
I want you to find a man named Mundy.
Why do you want to find Mundy?
Do you know him?
No. And this case will go a lot faster if you let me ask the questions.
You like to be in control, don't you, Lewton?
If you don't pull the strings, then you're the puppet.
Hey,
Tell me
dairy
about
farmer.
you, Mundy.
I've been a lonely woman, Lewton.
You amaze me.
You'd be surprised.
Shocked, maybe, but not surprised.
Mundy is my lover, Lewton. Or used to be. He's been away for a while, over in Sort. He came back to Ankh-Morpork a couple of days ago on the Milka. But he didn't come to see me. I think he may be having an affair. You're wondering whether my husband knows about it.
Actually, I was wondering when you were going to give me the money.
My husband passed away several years ago.
I hope the poor guy was smiling at the time. Is there anything you can tell me about Mundy that might help me find him?
He's got blue eyes, brown hair, and a black heart. You'd like him.
Has he got any friends in Ankh-Morpork?
Does anyone?
How tall is he?
I don't know. I don't picture him standing up.
What was Mundy's business in sort?
I don't know. I never asked about his work, and he never told me.
Must be a very straightforward relationship.
As simple as they come.
Where can I find the ship he came in on?
Down at the wharf.
Have you been there yourself?
I avoid places like that. Women and seamen.
Forget I asked. This is a bad neighborhood for you to come into alone, Carlotta.
I can take care of myself.
I believe you.
Good. Trust is important.
I said I believed you. I never said I trusted you.
Not my
you
first
like me,
time, but it's been
I
years
like
since
a
I
lot of
played this.
things. I like dogs, but I wouldn't trust one not to bite me.
I won't bite.
Shame. I haven't been bitten in a long while. I'd better get started on your case. Where can I contact you?
I'll be in touch. Be seeing you, Lewton.
No idea about the time period.
Because she still hadn't paid me. Still, it wasn't every day that a beautiful woman offered me a case. Frankly, it wasn't often that anybody offered me a case. And 200 would certainly help pay the rent, if I had anything left over from my bar bill.
And the story in relation to the previous games? Nothing. This is a completely different story. No relation between them at all.
The Milka was the tramp schooner that Mundy had come in on, and I knew it was berthed at the wharf. Carlotta had hired me to track down Mundy. At the beginning, that was pretty much all I knew about him. My purse might not have been my most valued possession, but I sure felt happier when it was full than when it was empty. I had purchased a large indexed scrawl rack to keep track of all the cases I was going to handle. The Mundy case made it 2.
2. So he has had one case before. I'll let you know, Lewton here is Discworld's first and only private investigator. There's nobody else but him. No, it's still, if you really want to know the time period, Goblin, it's pretty much like 2 years later or something after Discworld 2. Not 500 years or anything, it's pretty much still the same place, same time. Don't think about it like a medieval fantasy and this is a noir film. Everything's mixed up in this world. Trust me. You're thinking in the wrong way, mister. Everything is completely mixed in this world, especially in Ankh-Morpork. We have magic, we have knights, we have Private Investigator now. Well, pretty much the whole Discworld is an alien ship, remember? It's on Tatooine, the giant space turtle with 4 elephants on its back and Discworld on their back. So this is, the whole world is a spaceship. It was a night colder than a dead prostitute when he walked in here. With that purple tint and calm air about him, he was not the usual sort to cause a stir. But on this night, there was something else there, trapped in the solid pine resin of his eyes. He shot one solemn glance around and said, "Hi, all my most favorite plushy softies and sweethearts."
Sapient peppermint comes from a plant so magical that it is totally impervious to all forms of magic, and so valuable that thieves have cut each other's throats to own it. Unfortunately, I couldn't afford a desk made out of it, so I made do with pine. It's a nice desk, though.
For a moment, I was hoping that your desk was your freaking sapient wood, but apparently it's just pine. The thing is, people actually used to believe the world was flat and resting on a giant turtle. Yeah, because of Discworld. I'd
purchased the imp-powered coffee bean machine from Cut-Me-Own-Throat Dibbler, The man whose name was the byword for quality. With CMOT Dibbler, you could say bye to quality. I'll say this for the ICBM. It made coffee strong enough to blow your head off. On the downside, the imp tended to use most of the beans to fuel its own addiction. Some days the poor thing was so jittery the coffee machine would vibrate off the shelf.
Imp-powered coffee bean machine. ICBM. So it's a caffeine missile.
A lot of strange things had happened to me since becoming a private investigator. But the weirdest was the irrepressible sensation that the most important thing for me to own as a PI was a door with my name painted on the glass. Some mysteries are best left unsolved, I guess.
Start your day with a blast. So how much was the deal with the Dibbler for this machine, Lewton? Lewton?
All I had to do was track down Mundy and tell Carlotta where he was. I could hardly carry the desk around, even if I wanted to. Nothing like a cup of imp-made coffee to make me jittery and paranoid.
Good way to start the day, don't you think? There's our office. I think that's the Unseen University over there. Where's the wharf? There.
The wharf was on the upmarket side of the river, in the city of Ankh. The Morpork docks on the other side of the river were not a place wise travelers disembarked at. But then again, wise travelers tried to avoid Ankh-Morpork altogether. But if you traveled a lot, it was hard to miss. Like malaria.
How do you even travel on the river? Do they have, like, wheels on it? Like a river boat? Just made out of steel or something? Maybe I can do something to help you with the darkness. Hang on. Whoop. That's not what I want. That was the wrong thing. Remove. Let's try that one. Nope, nope. Wrong one. There we go. Now you guys can see the game. Is that better? Tell me when it's too much. No more migraine. Nice. Random question for all of you. Have anyone seen the Disney movie Raya and the Last Dragon? Nope. Yes, this is Windows 10. Of course it is. Too bad Zelda missed out on the opening story. Is that better? Now it's not too bright. Looking at my monitor and it's pretty much the same as it is on my monitor now. So that's pretty much the level of brightness it is for me as it will be for you. Alright, good. No, I could tell on the OBS Eldritch that it was dark.
The Milka was a tramp schooner, one of the many ramshackle ships that plied their trade around the Circle Sea. From the looks of it, it should have sunk years ago. Even the rats thought twice before boarding it.
It was just a story about Eleanor, Errata, some other gods, and Zorti's falchion, stuff like that. References to the gods and such.
I couldn't tell what the crates contained, and frankly, I didn't much care. Outgoing cargo wasn't going to tell me much. I needed to know whether Mundy had brought something with him.
It was about the Zortian Wars, if you know it. And oh yeah, since you are here, Ezelta, Eldritch didn't know, but I'll ask you. Is Lewton in the books? Discworld's first and only private investigator. Nope, not so.
The sailor was busy loading the ship, and I decided not to disturb him. A crate. What more could I say?
But what's in the crate?
The crates on the wharf were built on a large frame, sturdy and thick.
Oi! Get away from that!
A lot like the sailor. Something told me I wasn't going to learn anything useful from the sailor. I couldn't carry the crates even if I wanted to. The first mates didn't look particularly willing to let people aboard.
Oh! Mr. Scoplet. That's a small guy up there. Didn't even notice. This little guy here. Well, we're gonna see lots of familiar faces here as Zelda in the game. That confirms he might be in some of the companions, like Folklore of Discworld, History of Discworld, so on. That confirms my suspicions about his name, since my favorite characters in the Discworld are all from the Watch. Eldritch. Eldritch, you wanna know a secret? I mean, we're gonna find it out eventually anyway, but I can tell you something about Lewton if you want to know. But this is not about the Watch, it's about Lewton. You wanna know something about Lewton? He's formerly off the Watch. So your instincts are correct about the Watch and such. Yep, Lewton is a former Watch member. He became a private eye instead. Because he wanted to.
The first mate wasn't as hostile as I might have expected, but he wasn't particularly helpful either. Are you the first mate?
Shiver me timbers.
Davy Jones Locker.
The main brace.
Polly want a cracker.
Let's start again. Are you the first mate?
Aye, that I be.
You're not going to get any money off me, so you can drop the fake accent.
Sorry, you know how it is. Some people are stupid enough to fall for that sort of thing. What can I do for you?
Hey there's Jonathan. Yeah, it's a trope that PIs are always former cops, yep.
When do you sail?
As soon as we've got her loaded.
How much is passage?
Where are you looking to go?
I don't know. Sort, perhaps.
We've just come from there. It'll be a long time before we get back there again.
Did you bring any passengers?
Sure. We always try to take a couple of passengers. They pay their way, and if there's a big storm, they are very useful as to sacrifice to the angry sea gods.
Ah.
Of course, we tell people they were washed over the side.
Oh, of course.
What were the passengers on the last voyage like?
There were 3 of them. One of them seemed alright, but the other 2, I don't know about them. There was something strange about them.
Do you sacrifice passengers often?
No. The captain doesn't like it. He says it's bad for business. I said that we were advertising ourselves as offering an exciting tour of the Circle C. But he pointed out that most people would expect the tour to be above the water. If I'd had my way, we'd have thrown some people off the last voyage.
Bad omens?
The whole crew had a bad feeling of dread from the moment we set off.
Looking at the state of the ship, that doesn't come as a surprise.
I like it that they called it the Circle C because, you know, Discworld is a circle, flat planet. So.
This is the Milka, isn't it?
That's what it says on the prow.
It's impossible to read anything written on that hull.
Just because you can't read it doesn't mean it isn't there. Reality is subjective after all.
Very
Don't
true.
get all existential with me.
It was more ontological than existential.
That's a really bad habit you've got there.
In other words,
What?
a disc.
Oh, sorry.
Exactly,
I
Famine.
picked up a bad
And hello,
case
Famine.
of philosophy in Ephoebe a couple of years ago, and I haven't been able to get rid of it since. Just can't seem to shake it off. Normal as anything one minute.
Ephoebe.
Next moment, I'm wondering if anything can truly be said to exist. A bit of a drawback when you're supposed to be navigating.
Okay. Assuming the existence of an objective shared universe, is this the Milka?
Yes.
Can I have a look on board?
No.
That better not be some kind of philosophical objection.
No one gets on board without Captain Jenkins' permission.
Where is the captain?
I don't know. But you could try the Cafe Ankh. He usually goes there when he's in Ankh-Morpork. If it exists, of course.
So, Zelda, since you are knowledgeable about Discworld, do those locations mean anything to you? Zort and Ephoebe.
Was there a man named Mundy on the last voyage?
It's funny you should ask that. You're the second person today to have an interest in Mundy.
Who
Second?
was the first?
A dwarf. He didn't give his name. I don't think he was from round here, though.
What about Mundy? What was he like?
I don't pry into the passenger's business, but for a man who came on board pretty happy, he seemed pretty unsettled when he left. Not that I blame him. Something was definitely amiss on this last voyage.
Do you know where he is now?
Mundy? No. Like I said, I don't pry into passengers' business.
Unless you actually look through their luggage after they've been washed over the side.
Hey, what are you inferring?
I'm not inferring anything. I'm implying that you might have had a look at their luggage at one point.
If I had, I certainly wouldn't admit it to you.
Which either means you didn't look, or you didn't find anything of interest.
You better watch your steps, son. It's not good to make accusations like that.
Don't worry. Anything we discuss is strictly between you, me, and anyone else I tell.
Yeah, this is strictly between you, me, and anybody else I talked to.
What do you know about a woman named Carlotta?
Doesn't ring any bells, I'm afraid.
What was strange about these passengers?
I don't know. One of them seemed kind of foreign. I mean, more foreign than most.
Since that was who I'd learnt about that from in the first place, I didn't feel I had much to gain by going over old ground. What was strange about these passengers?
I don't know. One of them seemed kind of foreign. I mean, more foreign than most.
No other topics to talk about.
Well, safe voyage, if that's possible.
I mean, it could be possible. Well, now we got a new location. Let's go to this cafe. There it is. Well, Zort and Ephoebe were mentioned. wonder why they didn't mention Jelly Baby. Maybe because it was in the previous game. Oh.
The golem was loading wine barrels onto the cart, calmly and diligently. I would have pitied it, but there didn't seem much point. It was just magically animated clay.
Is that a common thing? Golems?
A good-looking crowbar. It looked like it had a good heft, too. I figured the golem wouldn't notice that the crowbar had gone missing. Not that I'm saying it didn't need it, just that I'd figured I'd get away with stealing it.
I wonder why the previous games didn't have golems in them. If they're a common thing.
The cart was being loaded with barrels of wine. Apart from the wine, I can't say I was interested.
I mean, the only things we saw were trolls everywhere, but no golems. I mean, the bouncer at the broken drum in the first game could have been a golem, right?
I guess I never really noticed that the Cafe Ankh had a wine cellar before. Perhaps if they'd run out of drinks at the bar, I'd have been more inclined to investigate.
They came along with Feet of Clay and just became a staple immediately after. Ah. I think we're gonna see some familiar faces here.
You can't recall if the whiskey knocked you flat, or if
I wonder if I should skip this somehow. Because it's a song after all. What do you guys think? Should I be careful or just let it play? Feet of Clay might have just been just after the two first games, probably. I don't even remember when this game came out. I mean, Discworld 2 was 97.
A cask of stale, broken drum ale.
It's a funny song, though.
How long till you meet again on the bank of the Ankh? Too much to drink, you could barely even think. Too much bare heart.
I thought I told you never to play that song again.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Lewton. It's just I wasn't expecting you to call by tonight, and...
You weren't expecting me? It's only been 8 years, Samael.
I guess my memory ain't what it used to be.
I don't know why Samael put up with my temper. He could have broken every
1999,
bone in my
so 2
body
years
if he
after.
wanted to. But that's what made him special, I guess. That he'd take almost any kind of abuse from the clientele, and he'd still be there at the piano, playing better than anyone else in Ankh-Morpork.
So play it again, Samael. So between 2 years, easily could have Pratchett could have easily written a book, wrote a book about the golems.
The pianist, Samael, was one of Cafe Ankh's greatest assets. Not only was he a first-rate musician, but there was something about him that made you think it'd be a bad idea to start any trouble.
Maybe because he's a vampire? They're kind of strong and fast, you know? Shouldn't upset them at all.
I decided not to disturb Samael while he was working.
Nobby!
My old friend Nobby from the Watch. I hadn't spoken to him in ages. Hello, Nobby.
Hello, Lewton. How you been keeping?
I've been worse. Of course, I've been better, too. And I've been a hell of a lot better and not much worse.
That's good, isn't it?
Don't worry. If Commander Vimes sees us together, I'll tell him I made you talk to me.
It's not that I don't like you, Lewton. I mean, we was friends and all. But it's just...
Just...
Well...
Yep.
It's just he'd bite your head off if he saw you talking to me.
he'd go spare.
How you been keeping, Nobby? How's the rest of the watch?
Not so bad, Lewton. Been keeping myself busy. Been working with Sergeant Colon.
How is old Fatty Colon?
Still fat. I'll tell him I saw you.
No, you won't.
Okay, so maybe I won't.
Fat
I was
colon.
just being trite.
Polite.
Yeah, that's the one.
I guess I never really understood why it was that you didn't get kicked out as well, Nobby.
Me? I ain't never done nothing wrong.
Don't give me that, Nobby. When you were serving as quartermaster under the Duke of Pseudopolis, it was widely known that several items from the stores were found in your kit.
That
Pseudopolis?
was all above board. I had all the paperwork for him.
Quite the name for
Your
a place.
kit at the time consisted of 2 warehouses. I just think Vimes had a grudge against me.
Lewton, I know you're my friend and all, but you took a bribe.
Are you trying to tell me you never took a bribe?
Never.
The ham from Harga's House of Ribs?
Evidence.
The pocket clock from the Suicide in the Shades?
I wanted something to remember him by.
The money in the petty cash box?
Mislaid by someone.
Misappropriated by you?
I never misanthropated anything.
I just want to understand why it was that you could get away with all your petty theft, and I couldn't get away with one act of weakness.
Well,
I think Vimes had an eye
you
for
see,
Lewton.
Just say it, Nobby. I'm not gonna hold it against you.
Well, I reckon Mr. Vimes thinks that a bit of petty theft ain't something to get excited about. I ain't admitting anything, mark you. Nothing's ever been proved. Got compared to some of the stuff that goes on in this city. But someone who's taken a bribe, well, that's like allowing the rich to avoid justice.
That wasn't why I did it.
I know. But you know Vimes.
Yeah, I know Vimes all right.
I don't. Vimes is the commander of the watch, I'm assuming. At least that's what I assume. I mean, he did say Commander Vimes.
What's Vimes up to these days?
He got married.
Married? He was only ever married to his job.
Yeah, what do you
Ah,
mean
straight
Nobby
up.
is not ugly
Married
enough?
into
Can't you see the
nobility.
huge
Old
wart on his
Stoneface
nose?
in the nobility. That'd drive him crazy.
Well, he's sort of nobility himself now.
What?
They made him commander of the watch. And we got a great new premises down on Pseudopolis Yard. They're full of
Pseudopolis.
patents
Can't get
and
over that.
vases and
Great
all
name.
sorts.
Full?
Well, maybe not as full as when we moved in, but pretty full.
I'll have to call round sometime.
Yeah, that'd be good. We got a lot more members in the watch these days. And we got a new dartboard.
Life in the fast lane, huh? Do you seriously think it's a good idea for me to call around? I mean, Vimes isn't gonna like it.
Whatever you may think about him, he's loyal to his job. I can't say he'll welcome you with open arms, but he won't stop you.
And Pseudopolis is such a great name for a place. It's like, this is a town. Sort of. Kinda? Maybe. Perhaps?
Do you know anything about a man named Mundy?
I'm not getting drawn into anything while I'm off duty. Wait till I'm back at the yard.
So I can only ask him about these questions on official business. Okay.
Do you know anything about some passengers that came into
Pseudopolis
town
is
by
actually a
ship
country.
few days ago?
So
That's
it's
not much to
like a
go on.
country.
You're
maybe.
a corporal
Perhaps.
on the watch.
Could be.
You're supposed to have a keen, insightful mind.
They brought that regulation in after I joined.
Has there been a dwarf around asking questions?
Can't this wait till I get back to the yard?
Fine.
I'm off duty.
Fine. We'll wait until you're back
I'll
at the
catch
watch.
you later, Nobby. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, don't get caught doing anything I wouldn't do.
And Pseudopolis sounds like a city because of the polis at the end. You know, metropolis and such. Usually polis means that it's a city. But But I just love it because it has pseudo in it, which means like it's sort of like a city, but it could be a town or a village, but you know. I wonder what the piano man is drinking. Could be a Bloody Mary. Captain Jenkins!
The captain of the Milka, Captain Jenkins, didn't seem to be a very happy man.
Could be tomato juice, for all we know.
Are you Captain Jenkins?
That depends on who's asking.
Don't play games. I'm just after a few answers.
That song really put you in a bad mood, didn't it?
If you're trying to get me angry, it's working.
No need to get upset. You need to drink more and think less.
If I drank any more than I do now, I'd never think again.
That's the ticket.
According to the map, it's... It's a country north of Quirm, which is just north of Ankh-Morpork. Okay. So, Sutopolis is a country. So it's a country with a city's name. So it's kind of like a city, but it's actually a country. Makes sense now. That's the joke. And also, don't you love the animation on... God damn, this freaking phlegm went... Hang on a second. As I was saying, don't you just love Lewton's animation in this scene? Just look at this lip sync as he's talking. It's beautiful animation.
So, you're the captain of the Milka.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately?
Ordinarily, I'd be happy being a captain of a fine ship like the Milka. But after this last voyage, I'm thinking of taking up farming.
Tough journey?
I don't want to talk about it.
This game was heavily panned for its awful animation and also some of the graphics. Because it's pretty much 3D characters in a 2D world. Because all of this that you see is just the 2D world. Pre-rendered stuff. That they put the models in. That's how they got around of making this very cheap. Or very easy, I don't know. But still, just read about how they make this game and you can tell that's why it looks a bit crappy at some places.
What was so bad about the last voyage?
I told you I don't want to talk about it.
Sometimes it helps to talk about these things.
Why would I want to talk about it?
All right, let's put that another way. I want to talk about it, and the sooner I finish talking to you, the sooner you can get back to drinking.
By that logic,
exactly.
My best bet would be to just ignore you and carry on drinking.
I was never much good at logic. I did home economics at school.
The only 3D you see is Lewton walking around. The only other characters are 3D, but they're pre-rendered. Like, they are already in the scene, while Lewton is the one that only loads up into the scene. Or the area. And most of the objects that we see, like the crowbar that I picked up, that's also a 3D item that loads into the scenery.
I was hoping you'd let me have a look around on the Milka.
I was hoping that I was gonna make enough money to be able to buy myself a harem of exotic dancers called Chantel. But it looks like we're both gonna be disappointed.
All the dancers would be called Chantel?
What do you know about a woman named Carlotta?
There's no one I know.
Has there been a dwarf around asking questions?
I wouldn't know anything about that.
On your last voyage, there were 3 passengers, right? Mundy and 2 others.
You tell me. You seem to know more about my ship than I do.
I just want to know what you can remember about them.
I remember that we picked them up in Ecclepon, and I know they had a lot of cargo. Oh, and one was a woman, and one was a man, I think.
You think he was a man?
There was something particularly foreign about him. I'm not sure what.
Where's Ecclepon?
Up near the hub. God's forsaken place. All there is to do there is drink and eat fish sandwiches with no tops on.
Sounds like a long way from the Circle C.
We got lost, all right. It's easy to mix up port and starboard when you've drunk too much port.
Makes sense.
Are they still on board?
Nope, we dropped them in Ankh-Morpork. And before you ask, I have no idea what they were doing here. That's not my business.
I was beginning to realize that Captain Jenkins only had 2 questions to ask his passengers. Where are you going? And how much money have you got?
Looks like a dog with peanut butter stuck in the roof of its mouth. Yeah. The writing is great in this game, yeah. I mean, go past all these 3D animations and models, this game is really well written, just like the first 2 games. I do remember I enjoyed the heck out of this game because the humor is great, the writing is great, the characters are also funny.
The Milka looks like a good ship.
You know nothing about ships, do you? She looks like exactly what she is. A run-down tramp schooner with no future.
At least he's
chance I
honest.
could look around her anyway?
All I want to do is get the cargo loaded and get out of this god's-forsaken city. I don't need people snooping around on board.
I understand you were carrying a man named Mundy on your ship.
What's it to you?
I was hoping to find him.
Owes you money, does he?
No, he's an old friend.
Him? You must think I'm as drunk as I look.
Aren't you?
Well, okay, so maybe I am. What did you want to know?
Where is he now?
I've no idea. We picked him up in Sort a couple of weeks ago and we brought him here. That's about all I want to know about him.
Did he say what he was coming to Ankh-Morpork for?
I think he said he was meeting someone.
Who?
I can barely remember my own name, let alone something I overheard through a doorway last week.
I'll see you around, Captain.
So, what's in this direction of the cafe? Nothing. Nothing but the bar.
My old friend, the bar. I was tempted to order a drink, but I was working. There was no use trying to talk to the golem. It couldn't speak. I knew full well that I wouldn't be able to get down there without permission and the right key. I decided not to try stealing the wine barrels.
I was hoping you'd push the cart. For reasons. The game certainly has that Grim Fandango feel to it because of the music and the atmosphere. The only thing that the game should miss is the rain. A bit too much of it. But then again, it's a film noir game, so of course there's a lot of rain. It was a rainy night after all, when we started our investigation. Ah, excellent.
I didn't much like being jammed into a crate and loaded onto the ship, but I could think of worse fates. Like being jammed into a crate full of rats and loaded onto the ship. What's your name then, little fellow?
At least he was making good conversation.
The hold was dark and dank, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. The bilge water was littered with flotsam that looked like the remains of a smashed crate.
Any jetsam in there too? The rain is the only reason the river is actually wet enough to sail right now. Probably is. Yeah.
The hold was full of crates for the outgoing voyage. They were of little interest to me. I thought I could see a label amongst the wreckage. I pulled the label out of the wreckage. It had writing on it that I couldn't understand. I'd pulled the label out of the flotsam in the bilge water of the Milka.
And Flotsam and Jetsam are also the names of the electric eels that are accompanied with Ursula from the Disney's Little Mermaid. Wink, wink. Ursula's little henchman, you could say. A lair.
It looked lived in. The question was, by what? There was nothing of value in the debris.
Sure about that?
I didn't think there was much I could do with the debris. A bunk bed like any other. A perfectly ordinary bunk bed.
Are you sure it's perfectly ordinary? There might be something hidden in it.
I searched a bunk and found a small scrap of cardboard. It could have been anything. There was a number on the back. Either a 6 or a 9. It was hard to say. I searched one of the bunks but found nothing useful. And nothing I wanted to think too closely about.
Yoha!
The scrap of cardboard I'd found in one of the bunks on the Milka had a number on it, either a 6 or a 9. I needed someone who could read the label. I didn't think the scrap had been torn off intentionally, but that was all I could tell from examining it. There was an inscription on the crowbar. Property of the Patrician's Palace.
Oh. Hopefully the Patrician is not missing it. Or knows that we have it. Because if he did, I think we would be in trouble. Right?
There were some strange scratches on the bedpost, which looked as if they'd been caused by either a wild animal or a man with very bad dental hygiene. What they meant was anyone's guess. I wasn't about to tear the bedpost off the bed.
Scratches.
I'd managed to remain hidden on the ship, but I knew my luck couldn't last forever, because I'd stopped being lucky around age 12.
What a beautiful looking
looked less
first
than
mate.
Happy, but I don't think he saw who I was as I dived in elegantly on the Ankh. Fortunately, the crust of the Ankh was soft that night, and I escaped both injury and discovery, although I needed 2 baths just to feel dirty.
I mean, you jumped into the Ankh.
On an ordinary night, I'd sit around waiting for business. But this night, business was coming to me, and bringing trouble with it. Business, I didn't mind. But trouble was an unwelcome guest. And like all unwelcome guests, it was hard to ask it to leave. And by the 3rd day, it was generally wearing your shirts and leaving its stuff in your bag.
Well, he did say that it was a soft landing.
Mr. Lewton. I've been expecting you.
Because of the
I
rain.
hope so. This is my office. How'd you get in?
Through the door. It was only locked. I know all about doors.
Good. Use this one to get out.
I have a message for you, Mr. Lewton.
I don't take messages from strangers.
Then let me introduce myself. My name is Mr. Al-Khali.
I don't take messages from dwarves named after cities.
My name isn't important.
You seem to think
Al-Khali.
it was.
I've come to warn you to stay clear of the Mundy case.
I'll bear that in mind. Now get out.
If you don't stay clear of the Mundy case, something untoward may happen to you.
This is Ankh-Morpork. Something untoward may happen to me whether I investigate this case or not. Now either you get out or I'll throw you out.
Don't say I didn't warn you, Mr. Lewton.
Don't say I didn't ignore you, Mr. Al-Khali.
Al-Khali?
A dwarf named after the Klatchian city of Al-Khali.
Ah.
And a threat. This case was getting more interesting by the minute. All we needed was a troll and a member of the undead, and we could open an ethnic comedy on Broadway.
Ankh-Morpork has a Broadway?
The dwarf had tried to threaten me off the Mundy case. I knew right from the start that he knew more than he was telling me. Hello again.
Hello yourself.
What do you know about a dwarf named Al-Khali?
There's no one I know.
I didn't want to show Captain Jenkins anything that might give away the fact that I'd been aboard his ship.
Oh, good thinking. So, who could we go talk to? I mean, Nobby won't
Hello,
talk to
Lewton.
us because
How's it going now?
Mustn't grumble, I suppose.
because he's off duty.
What do you know about a dwarf named Al-Khali?
I'm not getting drawn into anything while I'm off duty. Wait till I'm...
When are you gonna be back at the yard?
I'll catch you later. Don't do it.
Any new locations? Don't think so. Hey there, sailor.
Something told...
No. Stupid.
Still here?
Not for much longer, I hope.
I gave the description of Al-Khali to the first mate, and he recognized it.
Yeah, that's the dwarf who was asking about Mundy before. Strange little fellow.
A word of advice. Don't use phrases like strange little fellow when you're talking about dwarves. Especially not drunken dwarves, or dwarves like Al-Khali who seem to think they're invulnerable. I decided it wasn't a good idea. When do you sail? How much?
We,
So,
we, little bit,
did you...
we all, ape. Oh,
Well, say if...
We don't know where to go next. I wonder if there's a way for us to get any info on Nobby on when he's gonna go back.
How you been?
Been still.
If he's gonna go back on duty soon enough.
What do you...
I'm not getting... Wait,
Can you read this?
can't this wait till I get... I'm...
Does this...
Can't this... I'm...
And get back to the yard already!
I'll catch you later. Don't...
What's that?
Well, I decided the pianist, not
Nobody here. So, where do we go next?
sapient pearwood. And it's enough. I think we could safely say that the door to my office was just for getting in and out of my office.
Too bad there's no bogeyman behind it. Anybody get a good idea of where I could go next or what I should do next? I'm running out of ideas myself. We can only talk to the first mate, Nobby, and Captain Jenkins. But none of them are really helping me at all. There's gotta be a way for us to get Nobby to return back to the yard. But what is the way? That's the question. How do we get him to return? Conundrums, conundrums.
Hello, Lewton. Listen.
Have you heard? It arrived in town a short time ago.
How long ago?
3 days.
That's strange.
Why?
Well, there's been a string of odd murders in the last 3 days.
Oh.
What do you mean, odd? I mean, this is Ankh-Morpork we're talking about.
I'm not sure I should discuss the details with a pavilion.
A civilian, Nobby. How much have you had to drink?
I'm as sober as the day I was born.
Ah, that's a frightening thought.
So we got a new location, huh?
Since that was who I'd learnt about that from in the first... I'll catch you later, Nobby. Don't do anything.
So can we now go to the yard? Any milkshakes there? Yeah, it's Pseudopolis Yard. There it is.
I headed over to Pseudopolis Yard, but Nobby wasn't there yet. I decided to come back later. Still here? No. Do you know anything about the recent murders in Ankh-Morpork?
Sorry, I wouldn't know anything about that.
Well, safe voyage, if that's...
It seems like this is the game that when you learn something new, go talk to everybody about it. Ah, Nobby's gone. So now we can go to the yard. I hope it's not a Nobby's milkshake that brings all the girls to the yard.
Weird, gross, ew.
Pseudo police. There he is. And also here, we can see references to the first 2 games, these paintings up here. There's the Unseen University from Discworld 2, and there's the Dark Forest from the first game. Easter eggs, or references.
You could say this about Nobby. Deep down, he was a good man. Well, deep down he was probably a man. Good might be stretching it a bit. Hello again, Nobby.
Hello, Lewton.
Did I disturb you?
No. What made you think that?
Well, there appears to be smoke coming from your ear.
Oh, that, well, I've been working hard, you see.
Working so hard that your ears have caught fire.
No,
Don't
not at
worry
all,
about it,
Gabriel.
Nobby. It's
Same
not
company
like
who
I'm
made
going
the
to
first 2
report
games.
you.
I have been working, see?
Oh, sure. I never doubted it for a second.
It's still the same company who made the first 2 games.
How's work treating you then?
Not so bad, Lewton. I've been busy, though. Rushed off my feet.
Yeah, I can tell.
So busy! Rendering company? Now I have no idea what you're talking about.
Any word on these murders?
Nothing yet, but our top investigators are working on the case 24 hours a day.
Nobby?
Hey, Mark.
Are you one of those crack investigators?
Yeah? Why?
Never mind. Just a thought.
I mean, it's the same developer as the first 2 games, so they made all this. I mean, Blade Runner was made by Westwood. And this is made by Perfect and TGW. So totally different companies and developers.
What do you know about a woman named Carlotta?
Never heard of him.
I don't suppose you've investigated the passengers on the Milka, have you?
Of course I have.
Sorry, but you're not the most, diligent of investigators.
I work as hard as any man of my rank.
You're the only man of your rank. There's 3 dwarfs, 2 troll, a woman and a zombie with the same rank as you, but you're the only human male. I know you're human because you carry a bit of paper to prove it, signed by the midwife. The maleness, I'll take that on trust.
Do you want me to help you or not?
What have you got?
Well, I interviewed one of the passengers.
What did you learn?
That's official watch business.
You didn't learn anything, did you?
Not as such, no.
Any chance I could interview this passenger?
I don't see why not. She's down in the Cafe Ankh now.
Well, that's something, I guess. Do you know anything about a man named Mundy?
Never heard of him.
Have you learned anything about the Milka?
Yeah, not as such, no.
You go to great lengths to conceal how little work you do, don't you?
Hey.
I mean, I can easily tell that this is different, totally different style compared to Blade Runner. And Blade Runner was made before this. I think.
Can you read this?
Give me a break, Lewton. I don't know everything.
Does this mean anything to you?
No.
Catch you later, Nobby.
I like the music with the xylophone. The His music
The
fits
troll
Nobby.
stepped out of the shadows
Oh.
like light was too intimidated to illuminate him. He seemed like the quiet sort, but you got the feeling that if you stepped out of line, you'd get your teeth kicked down your throat. For that matter, he could kick your throat down your chest and your chest through your legs. But I was hoping it wouldn't come to that, because none of my clothes would fit.
Find Therma.
Sorry, friend, I don't understand.
Find Therma.
You want me to find Therma? Is that it? Well, what is it? A person? A thing? Look, if we're going to carry out a conversation, it'd help for you to talk.
Find Therma.
Okay, find Therma. What's your name, friend? There was something about a troll that big that made you want to call him friend.
Malachite. Find Therma.
Find Therma.
You've got to find her.
I wasn't about to argue with a troll that could twist my head off and use it as a cocktail onion. Okay, friend, what can you tell me about her? Any suggestions of where I should start looking?
Used to sing at the Octarine Ballad. Find Therma. Got to find Therma.
How can I contact you?
Find Therma.
That was all he said. I guess he wasn't very bright. But then there's things under damp logs that are brighter than most trolls.
At least he's an eloquent speaker. Hello again, Nobby.
Hello again.
Hello.
I don't suppose you know a troll named Malachite.
Not Mount Malachite.
Describe him.
Big, tall, stupid, not very talkative.
That's the one.
He went down for theft years ago. I seem to remember he had an accomplice.
An accomplice?
Yeah, he denied it, but we all thought he was working with someone.
I don't reckon he was the brains of the outfit.
What do you mean, Gabriel?
What happened?
Of course it's a hot day.
Not that long ago either. As far as I know, he's on the lam. Why? You've seen him?
No, just interested. Have you heard of a singer called Therma?
Never heard of her.
Catch you later, Nobby. Like measles, maybe. Or athlete's foot.
I don't think you want to catch measles. In Ankh-Morpork. Look at this rain, and it's dark, and Gabriel says it's a hot day in Ankh-Morpork.
I'd heard of the Octarine parrot. It made other dives sound appealing. What a place. I could feel the rats in the walls. Hell, I could see the rats in the walls.
You don't have any
In fact,
eyes.
some of them had come out of the walls and were sitting at the tables.
Because the troll is having a hard time thinking. It's a troll, they're stupid. You actually expect them to have a good time thinking? Probably hurts them more than just the walking. Oh yeah, because in cold weather they become super smart. I forgot about that.
The bar looked almost as appealing as every other bar in town to me. But the drinks didn't exactly fill you with confidence.
And also the singer is a troll. Must be a cold stage.
The bartender was a half-elf called Mankin, and I knew he wouldn't appreciate someone coming into his place and asking questions. Fortunately, I didn't care what he appreciated. I couldn't imagine who would pay attention to the notices in a seedy dive like the Parrot, but I guess they were of interest to someone.
Someone like us. Boo! Get off the stage!
The troll singer was something else. I didn't know what, but she was something.
Like a troll?
The stage, where performers go up in front of a drunken crowd and sell their dignity to earn enough money to barely live on. It made me think that all the discs a stage and all the people players. Unfortunately, I felt like I'd been cast as an extra in my own life story.
Don't worry, Lewton. You're actually the star of the story.
Come and see the greatest historical tragedy ever told, Antilogy and Cleffatara, Hwell's masterpiece as 'twas meant to be performed by actors.
Does that sound familiar to you, Eselta and Eldridge?
Eat at Harga's House of Ribs, all you can gobble for $1, menu available. Famous wherever huge appetites gather and mountainous stomachs rumble. The amazing panacea that cures all known ills. Cut me own throat dibblers, genuine authentic soggy Mountain Dew. Guaranteed to cure all problems or your money back.
Soggy?
There's some small print. Guarantee will not be honored.
Ah. Soggy Mountain Dew? I mean, but it's cut me own throat dippler. Of course, his stuff is questionable.
Come and see the greatest historical tragedy ever told. Antilogy.
What about the Antilogy and
Hwell's masterpiece as 'twas meant to be performed.
What about those names? Any familiar? Yeah, but it's Mountain Dew.
Can I help you?
You could sell me a drink.
What's your poison?
I'd prefer whiskey straight with a whiskey chaser.
You didn't come here to drink, did you?
Well, I didn't come here for the sparkling conversation. Most of the customers go squeak, squeak. This seems like a nice place.
No, it doesn't. It seems like what it is. A wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Hey, that's Star Wars.
To get to the top in that field, you could have that on a sign outside. Come to the Octarine Parrot, the most wretched hive of scum and villainy this side of the Ankh.
Are you being funny?
Apparently not.
You look a little nervous.
I can't shake the feeling that sooner or later someone is going to get their arm cut off.
Yeah, because you're quoting, Star Wars.
Have you always owned the Parrot?
No. It used to be a troll bar.
I wonder what
I took
Octarine
over
means.
the place after the riots.
Did
I
you
actually
keep
don't
any
know.
of the staff?
Sure, I kept anyone who wanted to stay, and wasn't too badly injured by the riots. But there's something about a group of rioting trolls that makes people reluctant to walk back into a place.
Or indeed unable. Did you keep any singers on the staff?
Only Sapphire.
By the way, something wrong with your arms? Because they're horribly modeled. It's the color of magic, Octarine. So, the place is called the Color of Magic Parrot? Huh.
It's not often I see a half-elf bartender.
Be honest, it's not often you see a half-elf.
Okay, you got me. What's the deal?
I don't like to talk about it.
I thought elves were supposed to be irrepressibly likable, so that they can get away with whatever acts of cruelty they want, like cats.
Well, I'm not an elf, alright?
That's the problem, isn't it? Everyone can see that you've got elf blood in you, but you've got none of the advantages. All you get is people's prejudice.
I don't like your manner.
I'm not selling it.
So Gabriel, tell me, how did you become an expert of Discworld suddenly? Many of the books were read to me when I was a kid. Oh.
Tell me about Sapphire.
You didn't say that before.
Why don't you just talk to her yourself? Just don't bother her while she's working, alright?
I gave Mencken Mundy's description and asked if he'd seen him. He told me that he hadn't. Maybe I could trust him. A half-elf doesn't need to make any more enemies. What do you know about a dwarf named Al-Kali?
I know a lot of people. That doesn't mean I want to talk about them with you.
Have you seen two strangers recently? Anyone who seemed more foreign than most?
No.
What do you know about a woman named Carlotta?
I know a lot of people. That doesn't mean
Do you know of a troll who goes by the name of Malachite? Tall, terse, and dense, in both senses of the word.
Might have been one of the customers from when this used to be a troll bar, but I wouldn't know him if he was.
It used to be a troll bar? What is it now, just a bar?
Do you know someone named Therma? She used to sing here.
That'd be before my time. Sapphire might know. She knew all the troll singers from back before I took over the parrot.
When did you take it over? Lewton asked these questions.
Can you read this?
Nope.
Does this mean anything to you?
A tiny piece of cardboard? It means you got far too much time on your hands.
Until later, Mencken. Can we talk?
Certainly look that way. Move mouth, waggle tongue. Yeah, it all working.
My name's Lewton.
Sapphire.
I could already tell that Sapphire was a troll who could look after herself. I knew I'd have to watch my step around her. It was quite a long way round her, too, and not the pretty way. You been a singer here long?
Long enough.
Long enough for what?
Long enough to want to be singing somewhere else.
Tell me about yourself.
I'd tell you about myself in 4 words. Big ideas, small results.
Why did you become a singer?
Aren't many jobs for a troll like me. And at least this one honest.
True.
Is honesty important to you?
As much as anything else.
I'm guessing nothing much matters to you right now, Sapphire.
You catch on quick, Lewton.
Favorite name in Pratchett's writing, only mentioned in a few books and never anything major. Ahmed the Mad prefers Ahmed the I just get these headaches.
What do you know about the barman?
Mencken? Not much. Know that him a bigger loser than me.
How come?
He owns this place. At least Sapphire leave if Sapphire wants to.
Why don't you leave?
Where would I go? No place on disc for a troll like me. Spend our whole lives waiting for break. Just one chance to come our way that can seize in both hands tightly. But it never come. Or if it do, we don't recognize it. So we go back to grind of job we hate. And just keep on ticking each day, one step closer to end.
Do you do children's parties?
I mean, she could go to Cafe Ankh. Samael plays the piano and she would sing. Right? It won't work. In my opinion, at least.
I don't suppose you'd know a big troll called Malachite.
Sure, he troll a few words, 'cause he don't know that many.
Do you know where I could find him?
Sapphire not seen him in years, but you try Rodin's workshop. He used to hang out there.
Have you heard of a troll singer named Therma? She used to work here.
Huh, a troll singer named Therma.
What's so funny?
Nothing. Sure, Sapphire know her.
Know where I could find her?
Try morgue. She dead.
That's what I thought.
House on Tallow Street collapsed while back now. We trolls may be tough, but rumors say
Whoops.
she was practicing her moves and knocked out load-bearing beam. Brought whole place down on top of her.
Jeez.
That's why Sapphire never practiced.
That's the only reason.
That, and I don't wanna.
Know where she's buried?
Sapphire don't know, but think they buried her under stage name Madame Lodestone.
Madame Lodestone?
Sure, on account of how attractive she was.
As attractive as a lodestone. Got it.
Word is there's been a lot of strange murders recently.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Why not?
There are a lot of strange people in this city.
What do you know about a dwarf named Al-Khali?
Sapphire know a lot of people, but don't know everyone, mister.
Can you read this?
Ask too many questions and a girl loses interest.
I'll be back.
Maybe.
I'm back, so I can see. Do you know anything about the recent murders?
Only what you're about to tell me.
You're not very helpful, are you?
Just because I don't want to help you doesn't mean I'm not helpful generically. Say, I do like your hard-boiled dialogue. How long do you boil it?
About 12 minutes from when the water begins to bubble. Heard of a troll singer named Madame Lodestone?
Sooner or later, you're gonna get tired of me telling you to talk to Sapphire.
Until later, Mankin.
Rodin's workshop. Alright. Let's go to the Ankh. The cafe, because Nobby did say that the person of interest would be here. You're playing the song again, Samael.
You can't recall if the whiskey knocked you flat.
I thought I told you never to Ilsa. I thought I would never see her again. I prayed that I'd never see her again. But either the gods didn't listen, or they were having a laugh at my expense. Knowing the gods of the Discworld, I had a pretty good idea which. Play it again, Sam.
There it is.
You know what? No one's ever going to believe you said that.
Hello, Ilsa.
Besides,
How
it's a
long's it
misquote.
been?
They never say
long.
that in the movie,
That's
Casablanca.
I was thinking that it wasn't long enough.
Aren't you pleased to see me?
Sure, like a jellyfish praying for the tide to come in.
What's that supposed to mean?
If I always knew what I meant, I'd be a genius.
Back then, you always knew what to say.
I still know what to say. I just choose not to.
You're getting a big kick out of making me feel cheap, aren't you? Well, maybe I had it coming.
Hey, don't take my side. You'll take all the fun out of it.
She sounds familiar, the voice actor.
I spent years rehearsing what I'd say if I saw you again. What I'd ask you. I tried to imagine what you'd say.
But now I'm here. You can't think of anything to say?
Now you're here, and I just want to slap you. Just once. Across the cheek.
What will that prove?
That I still haven't forgiven you.
You're not making this easy, Lewton.
Did you think I would? Did you think I'd just come bouncing up to you like a trained puppy? Maybe I'd wag my tail and wait for you to throw me a stick. Well, I'm never going to be another woman's dog for as long as I live.
That's cruel.
Not as cruel as the day you left me. What made you ask for that song?
I was feeling sentimental.
It's good to know that you still remember me.
How could I forget?
I don't know. But you managed to leave. I figured you'd probably manage to forget as well.
Never.
I tried to forget you. I tried to forget the day you left. I tried to forget the good times. I tried to drown your memory in cheap whiskey.
Apparently it
Did
didn't
you
work.
forget?
I don't remember.
I still remember you. That's what the song means to me. It's everything that's good about our time together.
You got lucky, Ilsa. You got all the good memories, and I got all the bad.
It didn't have to be like that.
It's always like that.
Did you forget? I don't remember. Dialogue gold.
I suppose you have some explanation for what you did. Some pat excuse that'll make everything all right.
There's no excuse for what I did.
At least we agree on one thing.
So what did
Why
she do?
do you hate me so much?
Because I had everything when I had you. And when you left, you took everything with you. It's easy to hate someone who took it all away from you.
It hurts to hear you talk like this.
Good.
Man, I really want to know what happened between these two. This is really good writing. Right, Gabriel? At least it's not forced. You can really tell that there had been something between them. But we don't know what, and they're not telling. And it's making me mad. I want to know.
I figured I'd better make sure Ilsa was on the Milka before asking her about the label.
Also, Ilsa, close your mouth, lady. I mean, you're drawing flies. I mean, she's got her mouth open constantly.
So, you came in on the Milka, did you?
Yes.
Alone?
No. I came with a companion.
It figures.
What?
Women like you are never alone.
I've been alone.
You know nothing about loneliness. You know nothing about what it's like to not know why you've been abandoned. You don't know what it's like to watch your career slip away because the one thing you care about has been taken from you. You don't know what it's like to spend years going into restaurants and asking for a table for one.
You don't eat in restaurants.
Okay, but if I did, that's what I'd ask for.
Why did you ask about the Milka?
You came aboard in Ecclepon, right? With a man.
Yes. His name's Two Conkers. How did you know?
Two Conkers?
It's my job to
Bedford, eh?
know.
You're being paid to find out where people board ships?
No, I'm a private investigator.
Discworld's one and only. First and only.
What do you know about a dwarf named Al-Khali?
I've not met them. Sorry.
Ilsa had told me she was for now. Tell me one thing, Ilsa. Are you involved in these murders?
What?
The murders. They started when you arrived in town.
I can't believe that you would think such a thing. That's terrible. I mean, I know I've done some bad things, but I've never killed anyone in all my life.
Just checking.
I mean, it's too much of a coincidence, so if it's not her, it has to be Two Conkers.
Have you met a man named Mundy?
Yes, there was a man named Mundy on the ship we came in on. He kept himself to himself, mostly.
What can you tell me about him?
He seemed nervous.
Anything else?
I remember him going down to the cargo hold at one point. He looked really shifty, as if he was hiding something.
Is that it?
That's all I can think of.
Hiding something. Maybe that's why he didn't go look at that lair in the debris. There might be something in there. But now that she has told us about it, maybe we can find something in there.
Can you read this?
Yes, it says Pier 5.
What language?
Agatean.
How do you know an obscure language
Agatean?
like
Actually, Two Conkers is from the counterweight continent. I learned it from him.
Counterweight
that? I
continent?
thought that people weren't allowed to leave the Agatean Empire.
Man, these
All
names.
things have freed up these days.
I'd be careful who you tell about Two Conkers, Ilsa.
Why?
People can be funny about foreigners. And there's always been rumors about the Empire. They say they use powerful magic there. The last time one of them arrived here, the city got burned down.
Two Conkers isn't going to burn the city down.
You know that. And I know that. But the average man on the street doesn't know that. They see the unknown as a threat.
Why? Two Conkers is harmless. No one's that stupid.
Let me let you in on a little-known secret. You know how stupid the average person is?
I think so, yes.
Well, statistically, half of them are even dumber than that.
It's Ankh-Morpork after all. Paranoia comes first, then stupidity. Right?
I found this on the Milka. Does it mean anything to you?
A piece of cardboard with a number on it?
I think it might have something to do with Monday.
If you've constructed murder and a giant conspiracy out of that, I'm going to be very impressed.
Not yet, but I'm working on it. Don't go far. I might want to shout at you again.
I'm sorry, Lewton.
Not sorry enough.
I'm gonna have to look this up. Her voice is driving me crazy because she sounds so freaking familiar. I'm sure I've heard her somewhere before. In a video game. Discworld Noir. Oh, that's Rob Brydon as Lewton? I couldn't tell that it was Rob Brydon. Huh. Could you guys tell that that's Rob Brydon as Lewton? No wonder she sounds so familiar. That's Kate Robbins, the female voices in the previous games. And they also have Nigel Planner, who was in the Discworld 2 as well. So pretty much the same voice actors. But they also have Robert Llewellyn as another voice actor. Apparently, Robert Llewellyn was in was Crichton in Red Dwarf. Okay. His voice and manner is too familiar. I couldn't tell that that's Rob Brydon. I mean, I know Rob Brydon. I've seen him in, you know, in many stuff. But I couldn't tell that Lewton is played by Rob Brydon. Couldn't tell it at all. I've played so many video games and watched so many cartoons and such of Gabriel that I recognize voice actors easily. But in this one, I couldn't tell that they actually have the same cast from the previous games. Pier 5 and Rodan's Workshop. So many places to go. Although I am curious about going on the ship again. Because I want to see if there is actually something hidden in that. Oh, we can't get back on the ship. Okay, never mind.
I was never going to get anywhere if I didn't learn to resist the urge to use the crowbar at every available opportunity.
You wanna know why I couldn't tell? Why it's the why I couldn't tell that it's Rob Brydon? the American accent. That's what threw me off. He has the perfect American accent.
I couldn't tell what the crates contained, and frankly, I didn't much care. Outgoing cargo wasn't going to tell me much. I needed to know whether Mundy had brought something with him.
I mean, it's not easy to tell that that's Rob Brydon because of the American accent. Because I'm so used to hearing his British accent. That's why. That's why it surprised me. And yes, I've seen him in many stuff. Yeah, that's proper English, right? Quotes. Let's fix that new quote.
All I knew about the statue was that it was a work in progress.
That's one way of making a statue. How does this contraption even work? Nice foot. If this contraption is the one that made all of these statues around here, damn. Is Rodan a familiar character name? I mean, the only Rodan I know is one of the kaijus against Godzilla. Maybe it's that Rodan in disguise.
You wouldn't happen to be Rodan, would you?
Ah, I know that one. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Take your time.
Yes. Yes, I think I am Rodan. How can I be sure?
Beats me. I had a note from my mother the day they did philosophy at school.
You must conceive form in depth.
Why?
Do you know, I don't remember.
Oh, of course.
It figures.
What do you make of this?
I stared at the statue he was working on. Face to face with art, we shuffle our feet and apologize. We say, I don't know much about art, but I know what I like. Well, most people do. I can't even say I know what I like. But that's not the point. The point is that if knowing what you like is good enough for shoes and drinks and women, what's wrong with applying the same rule to art? I guess people don't like to look stupid. Personally, I think art's for guys who couldn't do basic maths.
Do you like it?
Well, I don't know much about art. Sometimes I could be such a coward.
Guess what the food is a reference to?
So you're a sculptor then?
Yes. Yes?
Yes.
I'm reasonably sure I am. Something like that, anyway.
Why do I get the feeling that you aren't going to be much good at small talk?
At least let's ask about the most important thing.
Do you
Malachite.
know a troll named Malachite?
Malachite. Malachite. It sounds familiar.
In your own time.
It's a mineral. A stone.
I think he works for me. Or he did work for me. No, I think he must still work for me.
Uh-huh.
Look, there he is over there.
I mean, he is here, if you haven't noticed.
Have you heard of a troll named Madame Lodestone?
Madame Lodestone, the fount of all relief.
Huh?
Relief. Relief to be observed and not outlined.
Uh-huh.
Relief tours determination. That's the main thing. To hope, tremble, to be drunk. It's a man's life in the Imperial Artists.
You're not making any sense.
Not at all.
Sorry.
At least he's sorry.
I guess you'd better get back to your work.
But have you noticed where Malachite is? I mean, it's easy to find him, right? I also wonder if this is a statue of the Elven Queen. Certainly it looks like her from Discworld too. There he is.
Malachite was the biggest troll I'd ever seen. Actually, Malachite was the biggest living thing I'd ever seen, and possibly the dumbest, too. You're a tough troll to find, Malachite. You could say something.
Hello would be nice.
Okay, so I'll do the talking. So how you been keeping, Malachite? Okay, I guess you don't want to talk about that. This where you're staying at the moment? I guess you're not going to talk about that either. Heard any good jokes recently? How many trolls does it take to change a lamp wick? Want me to give you a clue?
And also, what does a troll need with a vest and pants? Or should I even be asking these kind of questions?
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I think Therma might be dead. Her house collapsed. She's been gone a while. Are you going to say something?
Need to see the body.
The body?
Find Therma. Need to see body.
Okay, the body. No problem. Sheesh.
As Pratchett writes in many regards about many things, it's for the look of the thing.
Always a pleasure talking at you, Malachite.
Yeah, not talking with you, talking at you.
For some reason, there was a grappling iron on the floor near Malachite. I couldn't have been more interested in it, even if it had plot device written across it in large letters. I don't know why I thought stealing the grapple would be easier than talking to Malachite. It wasn't.
I guess we need to get rid of Malachite first. And also, I see one of those candles going through your body there, Rodan. I mean, this is the one that goes through him. Oops. It's always nice to find those kind of mistakes in rendering. Those little kind of animation mistakes.
The Watchman had a look of mad dedication about him. It was the kind of look that could only be achieved by someone whose job was so mind-numbingly tedious that their only pleasure came from being blisteringly unhelpful to everyone who came along.
That sounds about right. And also, what is it with that these guards and everybody are super huge compared to Lewton? I mean, are there any other normal people around here? Although, can you really call Lewton normal looking with his strong jaw?
I take it you're the watchman for this warehouse.
Wow, you're sharp. People never work that out. I mean, there are so many reasons that I might want to be out here on a pier in the middle of nowhere, but you went straight to the fact that I'm a watchman. Well done.
That's a real talent you've got there. It usually takes me much longer to take a dislike for someone. Let me guess. Not only are you the watchman for this warehouse, but you are so bored that anyone who comes along is a target for abuse.
You're good. I'll give you that. Sharp as a pancake. What brings you here?
Research. I'm on an investigation.
You with the watch?
No, I work alone.
So you're a criminal.
This is Ankh-Morpork. We're all guilty of something.
I'm not. Pure as the driven snow.
Sure you are.
Oh, yeah? Well, you've just directly violated the patrician's laws about groundless metaphor.
What?
Well, can you prove to me that you're as pure as snow?
Ah, but that wasn't a metaphor. That was a simile.
Because, of course, the patrician is going to be swayed by a pedantic defense like that.
I guess you have a point.
I wonder how many who have played the Discworld games actually read the books. I haven't, Jimbo. And welcome to the stream. I haven't read any of the books. I've only played the games. But I'm learning a lot from Zelda and Eldritch because they've read the books many times, so they're teaching me.
Do you know a troll by the name of Malachite?
It's the night work, you know.
Do you?
Sorry, I don't get to socialize much with this job.
I gave the watchman Al Kali's description. He didn't recognize it.
Right.
Oh, I know about the watch. I mean, there's Nubby is in the game, like he was in the first game. We talked to him already. And I know Lewton is an ex-watch member. He got kicked out by the commander because he took a bribe, apparently. While Nobby is totally innocent about taking any bribes from anywhere. Like totes innocent.
What do you know about a woman named Carlotta?
Sorry, I don't get to socialize much with this job. It's the night work.
Do you know anything about the recent murders in Ankh-Morpork?
That's nothing to do with me.
When I gave Mundy's description to the watchman, he became animated. Well, not that animated, but more animated than he had been.
That's the one. He tried to break into the warehouse the other night.
He looks the same
You're
animated
sure?
to me.
Or maybe I just like stringing you along for fun.
What happened?
I scared him off. I'd like to know where he is now, though. It doesn't look good to have people get away with breaking into a place like this. Bad for our reputation.
Oh, I'm sure. Because everyone respects you, and this would just put a total stop to all those dinner party invitations.
Oi, watch it.
I mean, all of these games have elements from the books. They did say that the second game had elements like from 3 different books.
Heard of the Milka?
Sure. Put it in my coffee,
It's a ship.
Yeah, I know. Just winding you up.
Well, I'm already about as tightly wound as I'm going to get. Unless you were planning to use me as an alarm clock, I'd start thinking about being cooperative.
Where's the fun in that?
The Milka?
Oh, yeah. All I can tell you is that they unloaded their cargo here.
What was their cargo?
Oh, I couldn't tell you that. That'd be violating Watchman cargo confidentiality.
There's no such thing.
Oh, all right. I just don't want to tell you then. Satisfied?
Ecstatic.
Exquisite.
Have you seen any labels like this before?
Oh, sure.
Where?
On crates.
I have this inescapable feeling that I could try and get some useful information out of you about this, but that it wouldn't be worth the time and effort I'd have to spend on the way.
I'd go with that feeling if I were you.
Does this mean anything to you?
That's nothing to do with me.
I have a feeling I'll see you later.
I can't wait.
I can't wait either.
I couldn't tell what the crates contained, and frankly, I didn't much care. The doors led into the warehouse itself, but the watchman wasn't about to let me in.
An extremely wide version of the Frankenstein's monster. Ah, there he is.
The River Ankh. Probably the only river in the universe on which you could chalk the outline of a corpse. I'd already had to dive onto the Ankh once. I wasn't about to do it again.
You've never seen Frankenstein? You really should see it. It's a classic. Like as classic as it can get.
The skylight sat on the roof, an inviting alternative entrance.
Now we just gotta find a way to get up there. Anybody else get the feeling I'm gonna need that grappling hook from Malachi to get up there? Certainly feels like it.
Hello again.
Hello?
All right, Nobby.
It didn't seem worth asking about that. Have you heard of a singer called Therma?
Never heard of her.
Have you ever heard of a troll by the name of Madame Lodestone?
Madame Lodestone. Oh, there's a name I've not heard in quite a while.
You know her then?
Well, no, but I've heard of her. She died in some sort of construction mishap.
A mishap, Nobby.
Whatever. Anyway, if memory serves, they put her body in the Salachi Mausoleum. Don't know how she ended up in such an exclusive establishment, but that's how I heard it.
That doesn't sound very likely.
You did ask.
Just a random troll singer put in the mausoleum?
Catch you later, Nobby.
The Salaci family mausoleum was one of the most beautiful buildings I'd ever seen, nestled in an upmarket part of the city of Ankh. It was unguarded because, quite frankly, no one in their right mind would do anything to offend the Salaci family, given their ties to the Assassin's Guild.
Ah, that explains it.
It wasn't just something that wasn't done. It was also something that wasn't survived. The Salaci family mausoleum was full of tombs. More chambers, annexes, vaults, sepulchres, and catacombs than a thesaurus.
I think you just listed all of the thesaurus there, Lewton.
I tried to find Therma's grave, but it was a waste of time. You'd need to be an expert in heraldry or genealogy to even begin to navigate around it. I'll say this for the nobility. They keep their dead well indexed.
Let's see if Nobby will be of any help. Highly doubt it.
Hello again.
Hello.
Hello.
You wouldn't happen to know your way around the Salaci family mausoleum by any chance?
Give me a break, Lewton. I don't know everything.
Catch you later, Nobby. Like measles.
Many times, Zors.
Or
It's one of my
actually
favorite games. Sanitarium is a fantastic game.
Hello again, Mal. No, I know how you'd love to talk, but I'd hate for you to wear out that beautiful voice of yours. Do you know anything about the Salaci mausoleum? Hello? Hello? Maybe this is a time to take no reply for an answer.
Hey, wait a minute. The grappling hook is gone.
Always a pleasure talking at you, Malachite.
Where's the grappling hook? Oh, well, we gotta wait until she's done her song.
So I can see.
You wouldn't happen to know your way around the Salaci family mausoleum by any chance?
Nope.
Bummer. I don't think there's anything else I can ask him, or...
Until later, Mankin.
Maybe Ilsa will know something about the mausoleum. Maybe.
You came back.
I'm not staying.
It's a quick visit.
You wouldn't happen to know your way around the Salaci family mausoleum by any chance?
I'm sorry, Lewton. I don't know anything about that.
Okay, it was worth a shot.
Don't go far.
I'm sorry.
Not sorry enough. I decided.
Nobody visiting the office? Hey, wait a minute. Wait. Wait. There's something on the ground.
The note had been pushed under my door by Carlotta.
Lewton, I am anxious to see you again and to find out how the case is going. Come to the von Uberwald mansion on Moon Pond Lane. Carlotta von Uberwald.
So, Carlotta was a member of the von Uberwalds, one of the richest and most reclusive families in
Eldritch!
That
Von
explained
Uberwald!
why she could afford to offer to pay me so much. It didn't explain why she hadn't got around to paying me yet, but I could wait, at least until the rent was due. The invitation read as follows.
Lewton, I am anxious to see you again and to find out how the case is going. Come to the von Uberwald mansion on Moon Pond Lane. Carlotta von Uberwald.
Von Uberwald Mansion. I wonder if Eldridge is awake. Earlier, Eldridge said that one of his favorite characters is a von Uberwald. And I'm not seeing any answer from Eldridge. I guess Eldridge is not here. What about you, Zelda? I don't think the Dibbler actually is in the game. He's only mentioned here and there, but I don't think the Cut Me On Throat Dibbler is in the game. At least I don't remember ever seeing him. The Von Uberwalds.
I already had a bad feeling about the Mundy case, but learning that my employer was a von Uberwald didn't fill me with confidence. I didn't know the facts about the von Uberwalds, but the rumors were bad enough.
May I help you, sir?
You could let me in for a start.
Very good, sir.
And don't call me sir.
As you wish, sir. May I take your coat and hat, sir?
Thanks, but no. I feel naked without them.
That must make it difficult to clean them.
Was that a joke?
I never joke, sir. It's not my job. I may lie, dissemble, or deceive, but I never joke.
Look, I don't want you to take my coat, okay?
But of course, sir. Sir is welcome to drip all over the immaculate hardwood floor that I spent several hours polishing this morning, because Sir is a guest, and Sir is entitled to do whatever Sir wishes.
Good. Because that's what we're gonna do. Just dribble all over the place. Drip, 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 drip.
Nice house.
Sir's taste in architecture must be quite exquisite to so accurately summarize the many splendid cornices and archaic stained glass frescoes of this splendid Lorenzian building as nice.
You have a gift for making people feel welcome, don't you?
One is blessed.
I like this guy. Guilt tripping much? I like him.
So what do you make of Carlotta, then?
Sir?
Carlotta. Carlotta von Uberwald. She does live here, doesn't she?
Indeed, sir. Sir is as dogged in his pursuit of the truth as he is determined to warp the incalculably valuable hardwood floor by his persistent dripping.
You're not going to give up on this hardwood floor thing, are you?
As ever, Sir is both astute and incredibly stubborn.
What about Carlotta?
She is also quite astute and most definitely stubborn.
What do you think about her, then?
I am not paid to form opinions, sir, merely to perform menial actions such as guarding the hardwood floor, a task I am, alas, failing in at the current time.
Let it go, man.
Will you shut up about the hardwood floor?
As Sir wishes. I will no longer mention how Sir is irrevocably damaging timber felled by the hand of the 77th Earl of Ankh. Boards that have lain here for longer than Sir has been alive, and that were first laid before Sir's father was even a glint in the eye of his grandfather, whomsoever that may have been.
He's really not letting it go.
I have an invitation from Carlotta.
Ah, Sir is as quick to reach the point of Sir's visit as a tortoise with a war wound is in crossing a very large desert. I will fetch Mistress Carlotta for Sir, provided Sir would be so kind as to wait here and not to touch the valuable and irreplaceable furniture that adorns the room Sir is currently dripping on.
I'll see what I can do. The painting bore a striking resemblance to Carlotta.
The Duchess Charlotte von Uberwald, née Leopoldine. My predecessor, in a sense.
Oh? Are you a duchess?
No, but the resemblance is impressive, isn't it? My husband was struck by it from the moment I met him.
Where is your husband?
Dear Ulrich passed away during a civil uprising in Uberwald several years ago. Quite a terrible business, actually. Peasants, pitchforks, burning torches, the usual sort of thing.
Trunk door.
For Uberwald, certainly. Their ways may seem barbaric, but it's just the way things have always been done. If there wasn't a civil uprising every few years, I do believe the nobility would be most disappointed. Dying at the hands of a mob in a burning castle is practically traditional.
Tradition important to you, is it?
Ever the investigator, eh, Lewton? Even your employer isn't beyond suspicion.
My old boss used to say that everyone was guilty of something.
And what are you guilty of?
Too many things, sweetie, but nothing you need to know about. You wanted to know how the case was going.
A girl's got to have hobbies.
I think I'm getting somewhere.
We're all getting somewhere, Lewton. The question is, am I going to like where you're going?
I guess we'll just have to find that out the old-fashioned way.
That's me, an old-fashioned girl.
Like the girl in the picture.
The Duchess? She was quite a trendsetter in her era. She wore her dress so high, you could almost see her ankles.
My heart is pounding at the thought.
Scandalous.
So what's the story with you and Ulrich?
Do you believe in love at first sight, Lewton?
It saves a lot of time, certainly.
Ulrich fell for me the moment we met. I guess seeing that painting every day probably helped.
Don't sell yourself short. You have a few assets of your own. I'm sure it was an equitable transaction.
You think I married him for his money?
Did you?
Let me tell you something, Lewton. I've been rich and I've been poor. Rich is better.
Did you love him?
Does it matter?
It matters to me.
Maybe I did. I guess it depends on what love is.
Love is a moment of weakness that allows someone to hurt you more than you ever thought possible. Men were given the strength to be brutes to women, and women were given love to wreak their revenge.
Interesting point of view.
Lewton?
Who?
The one who left you with such a high opinion of women. She must have been quite a gal.
You can find her in the cafe. Just take a look. He's a bit heartbroken, Gabriel. Ilsa really hurt him. And I thought I was a cynic.
I don't have much to tell you about the case, I'm afraid.
You still haven't found Mundi?
Not yet. I might do a better job if I had more money at my disposal.
Ah, yes, of course. You haven't been paid yet.
Well, it had crossed my mind.
I'm sure I could sort something out.
I didn't doubt that she could. The question was, would she? And more to the point, when would she?
I mean, didn't she say that she would give us 200 in advance? But she never did.
Have you heard of a dwarf who goes by the name of Al-Khali?
No, I haven't.
Never mind. It was a long shot. Do you know anyone named Therma?
Sorry, Lewton. I've never heard of them.
Do you know a woman named Ilsa or a man named Two Conkers?
Be careful, Lewton. I don't appreciate people wasting my time.
I'm just asking questions.
You wouldn't have anything to do with the recent murders.
Why, Mr. Lewton, you must think the worst of me.
I think the worst of everyone. That's my job.
Do you think Mundi could have been murdered?
Anyone could be murdered, but speculation is cheap.
And you're not?
I'm not cheap. I'm a bargain. I need your help.
I'm not hard to get, Lewton. All you have to do is ask.
I need your knowledge. I need to find a particular tomb in the Salaci Mausoleum, but I don't know enough about genealogy. You do.
The Salaci Mausoleum? That could be trouble.
Don't worry. I'm not going to mess with the tombs. I know better than to offend a family whose ties with the Assassin's Guild go back to its very foundation. I just want to see if someone's buried there.
Who's the stiff?
A troll named Therma.
A dead troll? You don't get much stiffer than that, I suppose.
Will you help me or not?
Of course, although I'm not really properly dressed for a mausoleum. You don't mind waiting while I get changed?
It's not like Therma's going anywhere.
If Sarah is not too busy, the master of the house wishes a word with you.
And if I am too busy?
The master of the house still wishes a word with you, and I shall be forced to beg.
That sounds like it could be fun.
Did I say beg, sir?
Yes.
I meant resort to violence.
In which case, lead the way.
Mr. Lewton, as I understand it, my daughter-in-law has retained you to investigate a certain matter for her.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Then I take it you will be a frequent visitor to my house.
Pretty
It
much.
seems likely.
Do you know who I am?
I know that they call you the Count.
Do you know why they call me the Count?
Because you got it.
Because I am a Count.
You're
Count
good at math?
Henning von Überwald. One of the Blints von Überwalds, I ought to add, because frankly, Überwald had an uncountable number of counts. And I'm trapped in Ankh-Morpork at the moment because my current infirmity prohibits me from leaving this room.
That doesn't explain why you wanted to see me.
I wish to know what my daughter-in-law has you investigating.
That's between me and her.
No, Mr. Lewton. I rather suspect it isn't.
It
you
isn't?
see, Carlotta's hands are not on the von Überwald purse strings, but mine are.
So you're saying I won't get paid unless I tell you what I'm doing?
No, I'm implying that. Whether or not you actually get paid is a different issue.
What's it to you?
I get very bored.
That's why you're not
I'm interested.
wearing
as
any
to
pants?
What goes on around me?
All right. I'm tracking someone for her.
Someone who is missing?
That's right. A man named Mundy.
Oh, I see. Very well. If you keep me informed on the progress of the case periodically, I will ensure that you receive payment.
So if I keep you informed on how the Mundy case is going, you'll ensure that I get paid?
As much as it is in my power to do so, yes.
And what if I mention this to Carlotta? Maybe she's got the money from other sources and doesn't need the family money.
A possibility. Very well. I'll offer to pay you irrespective of whether Carlotta pays you herself.
That seems a little unethical. I'd be betraying the trust of a client.
I'll pay you twice your usual fees.
Well, what do you know? Suddenly I've resolved all my ethical dilemmas.
Ethics are a salve for the poor, Lewton.
I am the poor.
You sound as if you are proud of the fact.
The poor are often prouder than the rich. They know that what they have can't be taken away.
Why would anyone want to take their poverty away?
I didn't say the poor were smart. I said they were proud. You said you have to stay in the conservatory. Why?
I'm not a well man, Mr. Lewton. It is hard to say how long I have for this world, or indeed if the next world will take me.
What's so special about the conservatory?
Ankh-Morpork is too hot and humid for my tastes. I had the conservatory built especially.
I
It's
see.
colder than the rest of the house. I keep it at the temperature I feel most comfortable with.
Why so cold?
You ask too many questions.
I'm an investigator. It's my job.
Well, be thankful that I find your impertinence charming, or else I might be forced to teach you a lesson.
In your condition?
You would be surprised at just what I can do in my condition, Mr. Lewton.
Better not find out.
So the von Uberwalds are wealthy then?
Not compared to some, but we have more than enough to look after our own.
Is Carlotta one of your own?
When she married into us, she became a part of us.
You sound like you don't approve.
My opinions of Carlotta are not the issue. Traditions and ties of blood are stronger than opinions.
But there is no tie of blood between you and Carlotta. She married into the clan.
Mr. Lewton, there are ties of blood between all the von Überwalds.
Really?
In Überwald, blood is very important.
Well, that's not ominous or anything.
Do you know the Salaci mausoleum at all?
I'm aware of it. The Selaci family and the von Überwalds do occasionally mix in polite society.
By polite society, you mean high society.
Well, certainly out of your reach.
Is there any chance you could show me around it?
Mr. Lewton, there is little chance that I will leave this room for you or anyone else, let alone travel halfway across town to give you a guided tour of a mausoleum. Also, I confess, it would bring back happy memories of when I was dating.
You took your dates to a mausoleum?
Sometimes. Sometimes my dates lived in mausoleums.
What?
You dated the dead?
No. The undead.
Why?
They can be terrible bores sometimes, but most vampires are terribly well bred.
Yeah, not disturbing at all. No. Nah.
Do you know anything about the recent murders?
There are always murders in Überwald. I don't see why these should be any different.
I was talking about the murders here in Ankh-Morpork.
Mr. Lewton, I couldn't be less interested in the petty crimes of this wretched city.
Ah, but you could be. As in, not interested at all.
What do you know about a dwarf named Al-Khali?
These days, the only people I know are those who come to the mansion.
What can you tell me about Monday?
I'm afraid I can tell you nothing. But I would be interested in what you have to say about Monday.
Carlotta says he's an ex-lover and she suspects him of cheating on her.
And you believed her?
Whether I believe her or not is immaterial. I'll be back later.
I look forward to it.
Now let's get this straight. We're looking for a troll named Therma.
Madame
As far
Lodestone.
as I know, yes, but she may be in here under the name Madame Lodestone.
Okay, then we can rule out the Fornix Sanguis Ceruleus.
What?
The Blue Blood Vault. We can probably eliminate the heroic decapitated war veterans vault. And the thoroughbred pet vault. Do you know what relation this troll had to the Selaci family?
Does there have to be one?
She wouldn't be buried here if she wasn't.
Well, your guess is as good as mine. It took Carlotta a while to work it out, but we eventually found a Madame Lodestone in the Fornix Famulus, the servitor's vault. Guess she used to keep the floors real clean or something.
Here we are. Madame Lodestone.
There's an inscription. Madame Lodestone, singer and retainer of Lord Robert Salaci, taken from us when her house collapsed, returning her to the rubble from whence she came. Not much of an epitaph. Still, it's more than I expect mine will say. I'll probably end up with whatever's written on the cement bag round my feet. Carlotta? Carlotta?
She vanished.
She disappeared without even a word.
She's Batman.
I couldn't work that woman out. Still, she'd found me the tomb, which left me trying to decide whether or not to tell Malachite.
We should tell Malachite, right?
There's an inscription. Madame Lode. A heavy stone slab covered the tomb of Madame Lodestone, and presumably
Hey, Lisa.
Therma's body was inside. I tried to move the slab, but it was far too heavy.
So we do need malachite.
Hello again, Malachite. No, don't say anything. So how you been keeping? Oh, this way. I guess. Heard any good? How many want me to give? Well, I think I found Therma's body. It's in the Salachi Mausoleum.
Need to see body. Take me there.
Okay. Nice to see someone dealing with the grieving process at high speed. Cut straight to the acceptance. It saves a lot of time, doesn't it? I don't know why I bother sometimes. Not as if he's listening to me. Maybe it'd help if I hit him with something, like maybe a really heavy building.
Need to see body.
Of course you do. Here's the tomb.
Need to see body.
Hey, it's going to be pretty ugly in there. I mean, she was crushed under a house. That'd mess up even a troll.
Need to see body.
Malachite pushed the slab off the tomb like he was opening a jam jar. Inside was some rubble that I assumed was Therma's body. Frankly, there wasn't much to go on. Trolls are rocks, and that's the whole story.
Not Therma. Keep looking.
Are you crazy? How could you tell?
Not Therma. Keep looking.
I was beginning to wonder if Malachite was mad. If he was, I could at least make use of it. Okay, I've got no soul. I must be a heel. All right, I'll keep looking. But I've got a problem. There's this building I need to get into, but I can't do it. I need a grappling iron. A grappling iron like the one you have. Look, I need to borrow your grappling iron. Do you understand?
Give you hook. You find Therma.
That's the deal. I couldn't help but wonder what it meant if that rubble wasn't Therma. Had Sapphire lied to me? I wouldn't be surprised. Frankly, I was more surprised by people telling me the truth than telling lies. Lies flow like water, but the truth burns. That's not a bad line.
No,
I'm gonna
not a
write
bad.
that down. Malachite gave me the grapple and left the mausoleum without another word.
If it bleeds, we can kill it. But it's a troll. I guess we're screwed then.
The rubble was definitely the body of a troll. But according to Malachite, it wasn't Therma's body. I examined the body closely, but all I could see of interest were the troll's diamond teeth glinting at me. The glinting diamond teeth of the troll seemed to lure me like a siren. Well, okay, so greed lured me like a siren. Either way, I really wanted one of those teeth. All my best instincts told me not to take the tooth, but I just ignored them.
Another troll with a diamond tooth. I mean, that's one we got in the second game.
It hadn't been easy getting the grappling iron from Malachite. Of course, even getting a meaningful sentence from Malachite was a challenge.
Indeed.
A beautiful, glittering diamond. I tried not to think that I had pulled it out of a dead troll's corpse. More importantly, I tried not to think about the fact that I stole it from the Salachi family mausoleum.
Makes you wonder, what the heck do trolls eat? I mean, if their teeth are made out of diamond, I would imagine that they just eat anything that is stolen. Because they can grind anything with those kind of teeth, and the only thing I can think of is just sediments. Sediments of any kind. I wonder what their favorite sediments are. If they have even favorites. Like somebody would like eating emeralds over And somebody might actually like Micah. Maybe some of them have the favorite is eating flint.
The skylight set on... That wasn't going to help me open the skylight. The skylight... The skylight was locked tight.
Then use the Kerber. If nothing else.
I damaged the skylight slightly when I forced it open with the crowbar. Gee, how would I sleep at night?
Easily, I would say. I'm glad that this is not dark or anything.
Breaking into the warehouse was easier than I thought, but then I was a natural pessimist. Living in Ankh-Morpork did that to a man. What little light there was in the warehouse was coming through the skylight, and shadows played on the walls as I searched for something to help the case. I didn't know what I was looking for, but I was desperate enough that anything would do. The warehouse was full of crates. I wasn't surprised. That's what the warehouse was for, after all. None of the crates seemed to be of much interest, though. It looked like a matchbook. Even my paranoid mind couldn't come up with a reason not to pick it up.
I knew it. When we were at the Parrot, I saw behind mannequin it said 6 Whalebone Lane on the window. And that's what it is.
The scrap of cardboard I'd found on the Milka matched the torn matchbook exactly.
9 Whalebone Lane.
The reconstructed matchbook clearly read 9 Whalebone Lane.
Whalebone.
I wasn't about to try carrying a huge crate around with me. The skylight had provided me an easy way into the warehouse.
Is it gonna provide us an easy exit? Yep.
Hello again. Do you know anything about Count von Uberwald?
Never heard of him.
How can you not know about the von Uberwalds?
Any thoughts on this matchbook or what's written on it?
I don't know.
You were a great help, Nobby. Keep up the good work.
Catch you later, Nobby.
Wonder where Sapphire's gone to.
I'm back.
So I can see.
Have you seen Sapphire?
She's not here. She went off to see someone.
Who?
Who do I look like? A keeper?
I don't know where Carrot is. I mean, he is in the first game, but... no idea where Carrot is. I don't think we are ever gonna see Vimes, because Vimes and... well, pretty much Vimes is the reason why Lewton here got kicked out of the Watch.
Do you know what this is?
It's a matchbook.
Any reason it might have the address of the parrot written on the back?
None that has anything to do with me.
I knew he was hiding something. The question was, how could I get it out of him? I'm against unnecessary violence. Besides, these skinny types can be tougher than they look. So you don't know Mundy?
I've already told you that I don't.
And this matchbook means nothing to you?
Do you practice to become this irritating?
Well, I'm confused. You see, this is Mundy's handwriting on the matchbook, and this is your address he wrote. Shall I tell you what I think?
I don't think I have that much choice.
I think Mundy is here, but he told you not to tell anyone that he's here.
You're just making it up as you go along.
Well, I could always go and fetch the watch. I heard they were looking for Mundy too, and if he's not here, you wouldn't have to worry about being charged with hiding a known fugitive. They can get so impatient.
Mundy's not a fugitive.
How would you know? You little...
All right, you win. He's upstairs, but don't tell him I told you.
I wouldn't dream of ruining your reputation in high society. Until later, Mencken. I'd gone to a lot of trouble to find Mundy, and now the goal was in reach. It seemed like an anticlimax. I couldn't quite see what Mundy was doing when I entered his room, and seconds later I couldn't see anything at all. The last thing I saw as I passed out of consciousness was the floor rushing up to meet me.
He looked like Sloth. You know, from the Goonies. Act 2. So Mundy's dead.
By the time
right?
I came around, the watch had arrived. I must have been unconscious for hours, maybe days. I thought no one could feel as bad as I did.
Is that Carrot?
Until I saw Mundy. His feet were bound and his eyes had been gouged out.
Yeesh.
Either he died of massive blood loss, or he'd spilt an awful lot of red wine. It wasn't going to be a good day, I decided.
Going somewhere, Lewton? You don't leave until we've finished with you.
You know where my office is. If you want an interview, you can find me there.
I consider you to be the prime suspect in this investigation.
You've got to be kidding.
I've never been more serious.
Never? What do you want with me?
Let me guess, that's
I was
Vimes.
unconscious throughout the whole incident.
We only have your word for that. You could have killed Mundy and then knocked yourself unconscious.
With what?
Your wedding. You're pretty serious then.
What?
Yes, Nobby. Now shut up.
Will you explain what you think I did?
You came in, mutilated Mundy, and then knocked yourself unconscious.
Is that all?
There's your promotion, too. You were really serious then.
Nobby, you've made your point, thank you. Shut up.
How did I knock myself unconscious?
I don't know yet. But you're not a complete fool, Lewton. You'd have found a way.
Do you have any evidence against me, or is this just part of your ongoing campaign of victimization?
It's just, you're always kind of serious.
You were present at the time of the murder. Your rope was used in the murder.
My rope? The murderer steals from me, and suddenly I'm guilty of murder?
It's not a bad thing. I mean, you're the commander of the watch, and that's a serious job.
Then there's the victim's message.
Azil? How does that incriminate me?
It ends in L-E. He could have been trying to write Lewton. He could have died before he could finish.
He could have been trying to write lemon. And what is Aziz supposed to mean?
I was only trying to help.
For all we know, Aziz might mean it was in Mundy's own language.
For all we know, Azil might mean, help, someone has gouged my eyes out.
Yeah, good.
You're just guessing. There must be other suspects.
The landlord says no one went upstairs after you.
It could be the landlord for all you know.
Mankin? He's not the type. Anyway, he reported the incident to us.
Listen, you've got nothing on me, and unless you're going to arrest me, I'm going to leave.
I'm keeping an eye on you, Lewton. Consider yourself a suspect for all the counterweight killings. If you're in any way involved, I'll find out. Don't leave town, Lewton.
He's really got it in for me, hasn't he? He's not a bad person, Lewton. He's just a bit...
Psychotic? Obsessed? Judgmental?
I was going to say overworked, but I've changed my mind.
What's this about counterweight killings?
Well, and this is in the strictest confidence.
I won't tell anyone who doesn't talk to me.
The murders have all been a bit, well, odd, redualistic.
What? They are involved with a revival of philosophical principles concerning the division of reality into two independent forces, mind and matter?
No. Redualistic. Like what cults do. Reduals.
Ritualistic. I see. Like someone was trying to make a point.
Yeah. One of the patrician's clerks was killed the other day.
Really?
Very suspicious.
Why the counterweight killings?
I'd better not discuss that. Gotta go. See you later, Lewton.
A lot later will do.
I mean, there's a reason why would you call it counterweight killings.
The bed looked neither comfortable nor inviting. Someone, either the killer or Mundy, had written Azil on the wall in blood. Mundy's blood, presumably. I had no idea what it meant. It seemed to be a cheap copy of Spinner's Rain, Cream and Speed. I could tell it was art, because I couldn't make out what it was supposed to be. I couldn't think of a good reason to steal the painting, even though it would have looked great on my office wall. Mundy's corpse wasn't very attractive. I wasn't looking forward to telling Carlotta how Mundy died. There was nothing on Mundy's body worth taking. Mundy's killer had tied his legs together with my rope. It was bad enough that he stole my rope without implicating me in a gruesome murder at the same time.
But it's not really your rope, because you got the rope and the grappling hook from Malachite, so it's technically his rope and his grappling hook?
Nothing. There should have been something in the boots, only there wasn't. I was pretty sure that the watch didn't search them, and that didn't leave many options.
That I didn't know about the counterweight continent. So I guess we're not getting the rope back.
If I had an iconograph, I could have taken a picture of the message. But I didn't have one. And even if I did, there didn't seem much point. I didn't want to become too reliant on technology. How does it feel to be a suspect, Mankin?
What?
You're an obvious choice of suspect because you called the watch. You were the first on the scene. Round here, that means it's practically a closed case.
I don't see why.
You were there when I got there. I was unconscious.
Well, I heard a commotion. That's what made me check it out in the first place. Maybe Mundy managed to knock you out before he died.
While he was tied and blind? Perhaps he said a particularly offensive word and I fainted.
Well, I happen to know that the watch consider you a suspect.
Well, don't forget that I know something that they don't. That you're a liar and you can't be trusted.
Just because you can't trust me doesn't mean no one can trust me.
Pretty much mostly made of gold to counter the weight. Ah, that's why it's called the counterweight continent. Got it.
So why did you kill Monday?
What? I didn't lay a finger on him. You gotta be crazy. Do you have any idea how bad all this is for business? Why would I cause all this? I'd have to be crazy.
Vimes told me that you're a suspect.
Yeah, of course I'm a suspect. I'm half elf. We're always a suspect. No one trusts us.
What I really would like to know is what's wrong with Mankin's eyes. He doesn't have any pupils.
Does the word Azeel mean anything to you?
What
Leave
about
me alone,
regular
Lewton.
sports goblin? I mean, if you hate all bloody sports, what about regular kind of sport? That was the joke.
Have you heard of the counterweight killings?
You mean, have I heard that there's an unstoppable assassin from the counterweight continent?
Take care, Zelda.
And he's slaying everyone and everything that gets in his way?
If you like.
Haven't heard a thing.
Oh. Haven't heard a thing. Okay.
Do you know of a
Might, but I would.
Do you know anything about Count von Uberwald?
I know a lot of people. That doesn't mean...
That's all for now.
Always a pleasure.
Can I get on the stage?
There was nothing I could do with the stage other than be glad I didn't have to perform on it.
So let's make a save here. We are already at Act 2.